We finally know the details behind the ultimate Nick Fury. And when I tell you that they are tragic, that is not any kind of exaggeration in what was a very interesting way to close out the year for the Ultimate comic side of things. We've got the review behind Ultimates 1 year in and many more books this week on Pals Pulls. I am Sean, joined by my ever present co host, Tyler.
Hi, I'm not Marco or Cale.
Yeah, it felt weird to introduce me, then you. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
usually I'm
know.
last. But
Usually I'm last.
true, you introduce yourself last. Yeah, okay. Well, dynamic
Right.
duo, gruesome twosome, whatever you want to call it. Come up with a nickname, chat, have fun.
I was thinking gruesome twosome because, as I like to say, I've got a face for radio. I won't speak for anybody else, but I know me.
I've said that phrase before too, Sean. Don't worry. I think I
All
had
right.
a speech teacher in college tell me that.
That's fucked.
Hey, I got an A in the course. I got an A in the course, so it's fine.
Well, we'll take what we can get. We have six.
Count them.
Thank you. Six of the week's biggest books. The aforementioned Ultimate Universe 1 year in. The Uncanny X-Men #7. This is actually part two of the raid on Gray Malkin. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Laura McKinney, Wolverine #1. Batman Dark Patterns #1. I know everybody's excited about this. I'm excited to talk about it. Superwoman Special #1. I have different feelings about that. I don't know if excitement is one of them. And In Bloom #1. I know a lot of you were excited, surprised to see that on the docket this week. We took care of you. Now, there may only be two of us here on your screen, but thank you to everybody who is tuned in, watching us live, whether you are live or in the future. Really appreciate you hanging out with us, spending a part of your holiday season with us. Thank you for choosing us as your review crew.
And then shout outs to the replay crew who catches this not live sometimes.
Yes.
They're always
Yes,
in the comments, yeah.
I love that. I love those comments. I appreciate the review, the replay crew, excuse me. All right. Let's dive into our first book. Ultimate Universe 1 year in. I've been really excited for this. We really didn't know much about it. I think in general, we assumed that it would be sort of like a tease of what was to come in the Ultimate line. And I don't know if that is exactly what we got here, but what we got is very interesting. So, for starters, this is written by Dennis Camp. The art is by Jonas Scharf, colors by Mattia Iacono, and that's the creative behind this. So, it's all framed around Nick Fury, and we learn that he is the big man behind the chair in Hand, an organization called Hand, which is Heroic Anomaly Neutralization Directorate. That's what it stands for in this universe, which is a little odd.
It's a little mouthy for something called hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I sort of rather just say Hand, but and Hand is essentially in this world what Shield is in 616. The way that Shield operates, it's a very similar concept, except that Hand is going after, they're targeting people who are either, vigilante superheroes who are essentially presented as terrorists
Yeah.
or terrorist sympathizers.
And our first victim is CB Cebulski, apparently.
Wait a second, was there a resemblance there?
Dude, open up that first panel where it says some people are terrorists, and
Sure.
this looks like CB Cebulski.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I can see what the inspiration may have been, what they were pulling from. I can see that. Um, And so yeah, it's this whole issue is told from the perspective of Nick Fury, who is feeling bad about the way that he's lived his life, and we see throughout history times that he has, assassinated people for this group.
Bro, he killed the ultimate power pack got murderized by Nick Fury. He
Yo,
pulled an Anakin
crazy.
Skywalker on him.
And what the hell was he doing? Like, what the hell is happening right here? Like, what is this?
Oh, I think so. Is that 3D Man one of the other visions and Devil Dinosaur? I guess.
Yeah, it looks like he's chasing them through
I
the
mean,
spot. It looks like he's chasing them through the spot's reality.
that's classic Steranko Zodiac Nick Fury Agent of Shield shit right there. I
Yeah,
loved that panel. Yeah.
it's sick as hell. It's just like I'm not sure what's happening, but I like looking at
I hear Austin Powers music while I'm looking at it. I don't know why.
it. But yeah, it's just he murders Dum Dum Dugan. He kills Baby Black Bolt. Like Baby Bolt, is that what's going on
Baby
there?
Bolt works perfectly. Bring him back.
Why'd he have to get bodied? But we learn that Nick Fury feels regret, and he has brought all the members of the Maker's Cabal into a centralized location because he wants to blow them up. He wants to kill them.
Straightforward, yeah.
And to put it frankly, it doesn't go well for him at all. And we learn something really, awful and tragic about this character. We'll talk more about what it is that we learned just a little bit later, but Tyler, how'd you feel about this issue?
So coming into this issue, I think I read that Dennis Camp. This was like his love letter to what Nick Fury is, and and honestly, I think he said Electro was one of the inspirations for this as well. The Frank
You
Miller
said
stuff.
Electra?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, in fact, those little guys on those go karts that are throughout hand, those are from Electra, the Frank Miller book. Weird deep cut, but I had to Google
Okay.
that because I was like, what the fuck are these things? And Dennis Camp was kind of said this is more of a love letter to some of the comics he's loved, which I can see that. I can see this being a weird, twisted take on the idea of life model decoys and Nick Fury and who he is in the grand scheme of things. Our traditional 616 Nick Fury is all about having the upper hand on everyone, not the pun unintended there, and using life model decoys to swerve everyone, heroes, villains alike. This is almost an inverse of that. This is the horror story of Nick Fury. Of what if he didn't have all that agency? What if he was just a pawn the entire time, and he's constantly in this, never-ending cycle of death and rebirth, and doing tragic things, realizing he's a horrible person, trying to fix that, and failing constantly over and over again. I think it's really interesting. That being said, I don't know if this is what I expected the book to be. I was almost expecting like an Ultimates version of like Timeless, like a hint of what there is in the future. And not to say like this is bad. It's just I kind of went in with expectations, which I should stop doing. Because I think it is a really good one shot, but it just feels like a one shot Nick Fury story rather than something setting up what the world is for the Ultimate Universe going forward. Like we didn't really learn much.
Well, my question is, because I feel how you do in the sense that I thought this was going to be something very different, but did we set that expectation for ourselves, or was there something we read that made us think that?
I think the title alone makes me think that.
Sure.
1 year in, it's like, all right, 1 year in means that you're encompassing all of what's happened in the first year of the Ultimates comics. And I thought we would get recaps or kind of a status quo. I think it did one thing here in so much as that all of our Cabal people referenced all of our books in some capacity.
Yeah.
We had Black Panther representation. The Children of the Atom in Ultimate X-Men was even shouted out here, which I think is like the first real solid acknowledgement of what's going on there in the grander scheme of things. And like there's like an Oscorp guy here as well. So, but that's very minimal in this. So maybe I was expecting more of like a resetting of the board or setting expectations for the universe as a whole, when really it only does it for Ultimates.
So this was my pick of the week. And the reason why is because while it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, I actually think it's exactly what the Ultimate Universe needed. One of the problems that I've had with wrapping my head around all this stuff has been the fact that we don't really have a ground level perspective on what it's like inside the Ultimate Universe. from the perspective of someone who is not one of the primary characters. Like, I get the fact that the Ultimates are terrorists, but what I don't necessarily get till now is that there's a whole network of lies and illusions going on behind the scenes that is affecting the way that people perceive not just the Ultimates, but everything. So the people in this world don't necessarily think the way that people think in 616. I think that was very helpful.
And I thought it was interesting the opening to this book, showing that the ground level, almost like a what was the big thing in Civil War with the Ben Urich and
The front lines.
Front lines. We almost got like a quick little snippet of what the front lines are like in this universe. And like even the everyman is looking at the Ultimates thinking, maybe they're onto something. Even though they do kill and they do bust shit up and stuff. I mean, being sympathetic to maybe a horrific actions and courses seems very modern as a way of thinking. And then we are shocked back into what this universe is pretty quickly. I thought it was a really fun issue. Strangely.
Okay.
I think, how do I explain this? I think it was cool seeing Fury romping around the history of the Ultimate Marvel Universe, doing Nick Fury shit, with little homages to things here and there, like Howling Commandos and all that. But yeah, it wasn't my pick of the week. My pick of the week might be surprising, but it wasn't my pick. It was good.
Well, I have a lot of love for the Nick Fury character. I think when I think about Nick Fury, I think about and obviously everybody has their own thoughts as far as Nick Fury goes, but I think about mid 2000s Marvel. I think about the guy in the chair. He was so integral to everything that was going on. The Secret War series, that event that Bendis did, the Secret Warrior series. There was so much good Nick Fury stuff happening. Yeah, right. And we don't get that anymore because Black Nick is not Nick. He doesn't do Nick things. And that sucks because I miss Nick.
Isn't he doing paperwork right now in Mystique?
He's doing paperwork. Yes.
His dad would never allow that to happen. I'm just saying.
Absolutely not. And so this was a great look at a character that I really love, but I don't get anymore. I don't get this character anymore.
And it's funny to see Ultimate Nick Fury was a take on Samuel L. Jackson, which then morphed into what mainline Nick Fury is. But now the rebooted Ultimate Universe needs to go back to what the original 616 Marvel Universe's Nick Fury was. We're full circle on this now.
It's bugged out. But, seeing him sort of go through his life and having all these regrets and showing us the things that he did largely wrong throughout his life, all these mistakes that he made. There is this sort of swelling of all right, he's going to get his, I thought maybe he's going to turn, he's going to, find a way to escape this place. He's done something in secret that's going to be revealed that will help the resistance. That's what I thought was going to happen. And it doesn't go that way. It goes him thinking he's got the upper hand. Like Tyler said, he's always the guy who has the upper hand. He thinks he brought all these people here to kill them, and he laughs or he tells them see you in hell, and he's having his grand moment, and they just laugh at him. And you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
And then he tries to shoot them, and they don't care. They don't have any fear of him whatsoever. And then Robert DaCosta's father, which is a whole other disgusting can of worms, lights Nick Fury on fire, man. They just kill him.
And the way he has his powers is that he's using his sunspot as a blood bag, which is disgusting. They kill him because they can just make more. This is almost like a game for them.
Well, it's revealed at the end of the issue, the last page of that story, that I mean, I'll just show it that there are all these life model decoys.
Yeah.
This was one of many, and this is what they all end up doing. They all end up trying to resist and figure out a way to turn good and stop this, and they can't. And I thought that that was really like poignant because in 616 Marvel, Nick Fury is the guy that wins. There's a rally moment. I think it's in It's in Secret Invasion. Excuse me, where he's the guy with the big gun, bringing all the troops
Yeah.
to finish this war. Right? Nick Fury's that guy. He's the rally guy, and in this world, he cannot save them. He's not enough.
And I think that's also a good. It shows how wasteful the rich and powerful are in this world.
Sure.
It shows that like, oh, we could just get another one. You know, like it doesn't even. I have all this money and power that like, all right, this is not even a human to me. Who cares? Discard him and let's get another one. It's like Asmongold never washing his clothes; he just buys new ones.
Oh God.
But just a little more dramatic and comic booky. But yeah, it was just like, oh, okay, this is Dennis Camp writing because there's bits of that here and there that I think just works perfectly with this world.
Yeah, and that was another thing I was gonna say. Like, as much as I love Jonathan Hickman, and he's in my top 3 writers. I'm really glad it was Dennis Camp who wrote this.
Yeah, I am more interested in the Dennis Camp side of things and the Ultimates universe than I am anything else in it. And honestly, part of this made me be like, man, I wouldn't be against the Nick Fury series.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you too. Is what about the original Nick Fury in this world?
So when I was reading this, part of me was like, did the maker take our Nick Fury?
No, because he's in Mystique for
Okay.
like 2 seconds.
Yeah. True. Yeah, but part of me was like, oh, I wonder. Like that was early on, but then they did the flashbacks and all that, and I was like, okay, no, this isn't it. But it's more of a play. But I miss Nick Fury Senior. He's one of my favorite characters. So I would kill to see him around more. Honestly, I would care for Nick Fury Jr. around more in the main comics as well.
Yeah. I really love the like dark bend that this Ultimate Universe has. It's really it's sad what's been done to these people. And like compare it to the Absolute Universe where it's dark, but it's instantly very heroic at the same time. Like these characters are very heroic right away. We haven't seen any losses they've taken. Nothing bad has happened to them that didn't happen to them in mainline. Whereas here, everybody's life is just sort of screwed except for Peter.
And the thing too is like, the Ultimate Universe is a dark universe, but it's not edgy.
No. Because it feels real. It feels like our life.
It literally is. It's that. It's the Batman Who Laughs being the inverse of Batman. It's like this alternate world. It feels like ours. This is our inverted world of what could happen in a way. It's impressive. I think it's easy to go the dark and edgy route, but this is dark in the sense that like it's realistically dark. You can see these themes and motifs mirrored in the world outside your window. This is almost more world outside our window in a way than mainline comics.
You know what it is? It's nothing is exaggerated.
Exactly. Yep.
You don't have to stretch your mind to imagine anything that's happening in these comic books. Whereas like when you first read the original Ultimates, and Captain America was acting how he's acting, it's an exaggeration of the idea of a typical American soldier. Hulk is an exaggeration of the regular Hulk. And now when you read it, it's kind of played out. This, I think, will stand the test of time because it just feels like a reflection of our real life time period.
Yeah, it is the most modern comic out there by far.
Yeah. And the other thing I really liked about this was that we got more time to spend with the bad guys. Like Omega Red has some screen time. Like I said, we get Robert DaCosta's father. What's his name? Emmanuel, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, like they all get to talk, and you kind of get more of an idea of who these people are, and we need that.
Agreed, agreed. And there's also like I did like when they were calling out the individual stuff they're dealing with in their books. Like
Yeah,
Viper shows up and she's there with fire, not Fire Lord, not Firestar, Sunfire. There we go.
Sunfire. Yeah,
She's there with Sunfire and speaks for him about what's going on in X-Men. Like I like how we are getting it, that is building like if Hickman were doing this, there would be a map and a graph, but it is building that in our heads based on just the character interactions.
yeah, totally. Um, this was just so great. I love the art too, the Jonah Sharf art. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at this panel right here of Omega Red. It's nothing special. It's just him gritting his teeth in anger, and it just comes across so well. His like blind anger and hatred at nothing in particular. Like he's just angry.
I like what with Ultimate Omega Red. It's like, nah, don't need to change anything. Keep it perfect, perfect, perfect ingredients.
Yep,
Horrible,
no
horrible
notes.
person. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Jonah Sharp art was really good. It was clean, but cartoony at the same time. Like there's that one bit where all the Cabal people are clowning on each other. They're like busting each other's balls, and Hulk says, "Well, Captain Britain let them walk into the White House." And Captain Britain like has this real emotive face. He's like, I wasn't expecting the Giant Man. Like it. That's goofy. But
yeah.
there's a cartoony aspect to the art that has me excited because he's also drawing the Free Comic Book Day issue. So that could be an indicator of maybe some stuff going forward.
Sure. And yeah, Jonah Sharp does a great job of depicting the like various Nick Fury eras rather, and different moments in his life. Like, just looks fantastic. This is a great page too. This page that's showcasing all these different things. Like, what's happening right here?
I think that's him facing Zodiac, which is like his brother in a way, from what I remember. It's weird. But all those
Almost like
concentric
it's
circles in Nick Fury as like a theme is so good. The black and whites.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm yeah, just an A plus book to me. There was a funny moment where they're talking about all the different ways in which they have corrupted media, and they mention comic books as being one of them. And Captain Britain, I think, is like, comic books, that's a waste of resources. And isn't it? Does anyone still read those?
Way to be on the nose there, Dennis.
I know. And then Nick
Um,
Fury says you'd be surprised.
yeah. I want to give a shout out to the confirmation of Ultimate Howard the Duck, even though his whereabouts are not good. Free my
Yeah.
man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, like I said, I absolutely loved this. I thought it was fantastic, and I am saying this is my pick of the week.
It's a pull for me. Close to my pick, but not quite my pick. But I do recommend it.
Awesome. Yeah, chat. I forgot to get the what's it called? I'm losing my words today. The poll. I forgot to get the poll up, but I'm gonna get that up here real quick because I do want to know what you all thought about this book, and we're gonna read your comments as well. In fact, Tyler, if you wouldn't mind taking a couple of comments while I get that poll up.
Yeah, Jedi Ty, a fellow Ty, said this world is very creepy based on this issue in Ultimate X-Men, and I think that's a fair descriptor for what this. There's an unease. There's a almost uncanny valley because it's so similar to 616, but it's not. That makes it creepy. I agree with that. Style so serious says Hasselhoff Nick Fury was good, but Shaft Nick Fury is still my guy. Is that what we're calling original Nick?
Huh?
Is that what we're going to go by original Nick? Is Hasselhoff Nick?
Original Nick. I love it.
Original blend.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Jesse says, I'm confused how Magic has powers if she didn't get them from being in limbo with Storm. Hmm.
Doesn't Magic have latent powers? Because she is a mutant.
Yeah.
I just, sure, she doesn't have the teleportation and stuff, but I think there's something that she has.
It's really difficult for us to talk about that in the Ultimate Universe because all of this could be completely different, Like we don't know enough to really speak to that. Heroic Age says it is wild to see how a character who was essential in one era can go away like Nick Fury did. Shield still isn't back.
I do feel the absence of Shield constantly in comics.
Yep.
It's like you guys had a solution for this that worked for decades, both in story and in like publishing. Yeah, give me a
Yeah.
helicarrier back.
Yeah. Shield is awesome. I love Shield. Its lack of prominence is bugged out. Comic book history says I actually thought he could kill them all right now, and I wouldn't be surprised. Did anybody else feel that way? There was a moment where I was like,
Yeah,
wait a second. I don't actually know what's out of bounds in this universe. Is there a world where Nick Fury kills at least some of them? Like, how are they going to get out of this?
there was a bit where I was like, yeah, that would be a big shift in the first year. But then I was like, also, that sounds like the end of the story. So that's not good for the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, like what would happen after that? Like, who would be the villains then? But
We got a year's worth of just one and done slice of life stories until the Maker shows up.
oh god. Um, I also think it's pretty safe to say now that they're not going to be going away from the month over month gimmick.
I'd be okay if, like, I can see I can see the reason for Ultimates still using that. I don't think every book needs to use that gimmick though. They're not directly referencing the Maker.
Yeah. I guess just to give a consistency, all roads lead to X moment type
I
thing.
guess.
I get it. Chris Stewart says there's definitely irony in such a dark universe simultaneously holding the happiest and most fulfilled Peter Parker. Isn't that bugged out? I love that.
What'd you think
Um,
about the little backup piece, little
oh
preview?
yeah, yeah. The
The
ultimate
Ultimate
Wolverine
Wolverine preview.
stuff.
Big news: Ultimate Wolverine, not Canadian.
Yes, yes, because that is the most important part of the character. So this is written by Chris Condon with art by Alessandro Capuccio, colors by Brian Valenza. It's the same creative team that's going to be on the book when it launches. I'm pretty sure this is a preview from within that book. And I mean, there's not a lot to say about it. Like, it's cool. I like the costume. It looks cool. Um, yeah,
I'm happy to now have a book that's dealing with a whole section of the universe that we're not dealing with, like the whole Colossus Magic Omega Red section in Russia, the
yeah.
European section. We don't know much about, and those guys are interesting when they show up. And I will read Magic in any book that she's in. So it is cool that that's going to be set at least somewhat there.
Yeah. I agree with that. Comic book history says, nah, don't downplay how good the OG Ultimate Universe was. I was there. This doesn't even touch it. I wasn't downplaying anything. I was just talking about the way that it feels different. That's it. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, Steve Canara says, how does the diamond delays affect the month to month continuity? I don't think it does.
I don't think they were prepped for that anyway.
Diamond's just trying to keep themselves in play at this point.
Yikes.
Oh my goodness. Heroic Age. Do you think they'll drop the month to month format after the final battle against the Maker at the end of year two? They have to. Yeah.
My gut says they won't. They'll just come up with another reason to justify it.
That would be so stupid.
I agree, but I feel like this is the gimmick now. If you don't get rid of it after the year, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want it to be the case, but my gut tells me it's going to keep going that way.
There's just no reason to keep it. Like, I mean, I don't know.
The reason I can justify is that comics come out month to month, so it's in a way of like being realistic to our time as well. I disagree with it, but that's how I view it.
Joseph Wolf says, I appreciated actually commenting on politics and not really picking a side. Feel like you can see certain things being taken from all things in recent history. I think this book takes a pretty clear side. I don't think it's ambiguous.
Yeah. I think it's clearly an anti-fascist book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's as strong a condemnation of the world at the moment
Yep.
that I've ever seen in a comic book. Like
Especially a superhero book.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um The Neighborhood Merc says this was my only pickup this week due to Diamond still dropping the ball. My LCS only got DC and Image Comics in. It's bonkers to me that that is still happening.
How does it happen from one warehouse moving? Like, what did you do?
Wow. Wow, dude.
And wouldn't there be a crossover period when you have access to both warehouses? Couldn't you preempt this? I don't know. This seems like just logistical clusterfuck.
Diamond is notorious for just not really thinking these sorts of things all the way through. I mean, I read an article this week written by a retailer who's talking about how he's been fucked by Diamond over the last few weeks in all manner of ways. Like not even just this, like um, shipping multiple packages a week. They pay per delivery. So it's supposed to be that you package everything together, so you pay one delivery fee, but they've been shipping multiple times a week, so they're getting hit over the head with multiple delivery fees, and there's no recourse. There's nothing you can do.
Bullshit is all I gotta say to that.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Pseudo Panda says, I don't mind politics in comics considering any form of media is socially aware of real world situations. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Totally.
That's fair, yeah.
And lastly, Comic Book History says, looking at Absolute and Ultimate, we have 5 ongoing with Ultimate, and we know Absolute DC has 7 or 6 books coming, not all ongoing, but is DC moving too fast? If they put out a book or two more, yes.
Yeah, we only know 5 for sure at DC. And I don't think there's really been rumors of.
Well, we know the 3 we have,
6 actually.
Flash, yes, yeah. 6. We know about 6. And I haven't heard about any others. So.
Yeah, they're not going to do an Ultimate Absolute Aquaman anytime soon. The difference is he's on land.
Right. If it stays where it is, I think that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. Okay, look, hey, this Saturday, Al Ewing is going to be joining the podcast. We are very excited about that. It's going to be a great time. I think it's always really insightful, really fun whenever Al comes on. He's got this fantastic voice. And in a way, it's like, sitting under the tree and just taking in this old man, not that he's an old man, but this old man stories. Like he's just got great stories, great things to say. I love listening to him speak.
Whenever I hear Al speak, it feels like I'm reading the Necronomicon and the voice of the old gods is speaking to me through the book. So take those 2 hints as an example of what Saturday's show is going to be like.
I feel like it's as close as we're ever going to get to having Alan Moore on the show. I don't know why. I just do.
It's an Al. So
it's an Al. Yeah. There you go. Banksy Main says I haven't heard him speak. Dude, we've had him on the show. We've had him on the show proper twice, I think, and I interviewed him at New York Comic Con this year. So you could check that out, or you could just show up on Saturday and listen to us talk to Al about Absolute Green Lantern and Metamorpho and Immortal Thor and all the great stuff that he's got going on. I'm very excited to speak with him, as always. We have a lot more books to get into, so let's keep things rolling along. Thank you to all 56 of you who are with us. Make sure you smash the like button. It really helps us out a lot. Thanks for all your support. Uncanny X-Men, written by Gail Simone, with David Marquez. David Marquez back on main art duties. Victor Olazaba on inks, colors by Matt Wilson, letters by Clayton Cowles. So this is, go ahead, Tyler.
There was also another artist in this.
Yeah. There, it was also Edgar Salazar.
Yep, cool.
Yeah. This is Raid on Grey Malkin part 2 of 4. The first part was an X-Men that came out last week, and the third part will be an X-Men that comes out next week, I believe. So this is basically what it sounds like. The X-Men are raiding Grey Malkin, which is their former home. It's been turned into sort of like a prison for mutants that they're holding. Professor X is being held there. Beast and Jubilee were captured. in well, Jubilee was kidnapped, I think, in the prior issue of
Yes.
this.
Yep.
Beast was kidnapped in X-Men proper, and now these two teams are converging to try to rescue their respective teammates that were kidnapped. So there is some infighting here between the two teams. The cover is not a lie, although not all of the people on the cover are here. It really, we do see an inter X-Men SmackDown. Um, Even some of the new recruits get involved as well. And frankly, that's about it. That's about what this issue is. What do you think of this, Tyler?
So this is what's surprising. This is the book I had the most fun with this week. This is my pick of the week.
Oh, okay.
Um, there's a skeleton here that is quintessential X-Men to me. In so much that Gale really understands the characters, the character work of it all. That feels like even pre-Krakoa X-Men to me, like the good stuff. The bits with, Rogue and Cyclops specifically, where they're kind of arguing like, hey, I don't want to, let's not step on each other's toes, and kind of in a more respectful way. It's not Avengers versus X-Men. It's them talking about like Cyclops maybe is a great person, but he's a little too buttoned up at some points, and is not a man of action as much as Rogue needs him to be at some points. Too much of a strategist, and Cyclops is like, well, no, I'm a strategist for a reason. This is what I do, and I like that. It comes from a mutual respect, and it didn't feel like superhero dust ups like it normally is. It's like, oh, we just got to fight because we're misunderstanding each other. It's a conflict of I guess not interest, a conflict of idea on how things should go. And I think this is the most we've gotten in these two X-Men books where it's like, okay, I see the distinction. And them raiding anti-mutant, prisoners, freeing captives, the bit with Juggernaut, starting his run at the Salem Center, which is like nearby the Westchester School, I thought was fucking great. I think it showed a lot of character for some of the new younger mutants, which I'm a sucker for. Calico knocks two tanks over with their horse. I was like, what? And also adding David Marquez to the mix does not hurt. And I think Edgar Salazar actually did a fantastic job on this too. Some of his pages were phenomenal. This I wasn't looking forward to an X-Men crossover this quickly in the From the Ashes. And I think because it surprised me, that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Okay. I wasn't as hot on it as you clearly were. It wasn't my pick of the week, but there were some things to like. I gotta quibble with some of the art here. I wasn't able to figure out the difference between Marquez and Salazar, but Rogue, man, and not just Rogue, pretty much everybody. They're drawn real skinny, like just this first page here. Like, what's up with all this? Like, they're very thin.
You can't complain about skinny and show Cyclops. That dude is like skinny representation in comics.
But look at Rogue though. Like, look at
fair.
Rogue.
Yeah, I couldn't see that when you were doing it.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I mean, that just
Gambit.
feels like stylized to me, like almost like Riley Rosmo. Like Riley Rosmo always has something a little spindly, I think, is a way I'm describing it. Sure, I wouldn't mind a thick Rogue. I'm sure we're all men of taste around here.
Just a little more meat on the bones. It just not even a comment on like weight. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about like they just look like twigs,
Yeah.
And then like frankly, I think for the X-Men post Krakoa to be fighting like this, it should be for a much bigger reason. And I think this is a waste. Like, oh wow, Beast and Jubilee got captured. That's it. That's the reason to get these two teams to go to war. This should feel monumental, and it doesn't. It just has. I don't care.
I'm okay with it not feeling monumental. Seeing Gail talk about this book on one of the socials, she talked about this book is a book about trauma.
Yeah.
and the end of Krakoa was traumatic, especially where it wound up leaving the mutant race. Um, and in that lens, I'm viewing this as just like two distinct, different ways of responding to trauma and how that can come into conflict. And Rogue being the heart response, where Cyclops is the brain response. That's compelling to me. It's not big. You're right. It's not bombastic. It's small, and it's more personal in a way, and a lot of it's internal as well. And we're having to see the internal be expressed externally in very superheroic ways. And as I know you didn't read X, or you said you weren't going to read X-Men.
I absolutely did
You
not.
did not read it. Okay. I think it's interesting because it almost you don't really lose anything from reading this. There's a lot of recap, and almost
Yeah.
literally you can lay over some of the pages together, and they might almost match with different artists. So I don't think it's necessary, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not loving from these Uncanny and just X-Men proper. I'm liking it. I'm not loving it, but I'm loving it in comparison to the end of Krakoa. End of Krakoa was some of my least favorite X-Men stuff in a long, long time. So even though the storytelling here is, you got the specter of, ooh, X-Men are superheroes now. We're going to monetize them and other things. That's looming over things. And the story in this is kind of depressing. The X-Men are on the back foot yet again, and having to manage that is a little frustrating, especially from the highs of Krakoa. But I think what we have here, given what it is, I am enjoying.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just can't see these characters throwing hands with each other. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It feels thrown together.
To be
Like I
fair,
just
they were influenced to fight each other
I guess, yeah.
by creepy bald
Yeah.
dude. It's always a creepy bald dude with telekinesis
Yeah.
or telepathy, rather
I don't
telepathy.
know. I already knew coming into this that I wouldn't care about it. And so, maybe I set myself up to feel that way. I like the writing, like Gail's,
Yeah,
words are good. That like this, what she does is good, but the premise is just, it just falls flat. I don't. It's already superhero versus superhero. I'm not that compelled by that on its face. I don't give a fuck about watching superheroes fight unless there's a great reason. And I don't feel like this was a great reason. And I get what you said, they were influenced to fight. Yeah, but that's because they want them to fight. Like that's because the creators want to put them in this situation that I just don't buy into to begin with.
speaking of things I don't buy into, and this is my one gripe with the book, the cliffhanger of it is that the X-Men are confronted by this team of people that are going to kick their ass. That is just Blob, Wild Child, and Siren. I'm sorry. That is not that is not a team that could fight Wolverine, Cyclops, Rogue, Psylocke, Juggernaut, Quentin Quire,
Oh,
Gambit.
but
Like,
Tyler, you're forgetting these fucking
oh,
mech
Sentinel
beasts.
pups, Sentinel pups.
Yeah,
Okay.
come on,
You
man.
got you got to give me someone big. We just saw Blob 10 pages prior get knocked down in one touch. You got to give
Right.
me something there. Give me
You know
another
what's
big bad.
you know what's funny though is that like they introduced these little fucking puppies and they're supposed to be threatening, and we watched Cyclops annihilate a Sentinel by himself, if I remember correctly, in X-Men proper.
It reminds me of those old little robot dogs you get from the 90s.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're just regular robot
It's got a
dogs.
headphone jack for an MP3 player, you know?
There's nobody on that opposing roster that I think is remotely a threat to anybody on the other roster.
You had to throw someone big. You need to throw like a saber tooth there. Oh, a Mr. Sinister might have worked there. We don't talk about him on the show? Is that okay?
He who
Never
shall
mind.
not be fucking named,
Never mind.
dude. Um, I pull on this because I'm on the train and all that, but I'm anxious to get past this.
Did you see how many X-Men books released this week? Most of
No.
Marvel's output was X-Men titles this week. Storm, Uncanny, X Factor, Phoenix was this week as well. It's insane how many X-Men books are out, and we're just going to keep getting more. Like Magic is coming out soon. A Cable book is coming out. A new Weapon X book is coming out. It's nuts. This week I was like, whoa, I'm starting to feel the effects of the X-Men, I don't know, oversaturation.
And that's exactly what Marvel is trying to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. Will it succeed? We'll see.
Meanwhile, baby Bolt's getting killed. Man, this is the inverse of 10 years ago.
Yeah, they need to bring my man back.
They need to bring Inhumans back. I'm sorry.
Somebody came for you for saying that last week.
What, that the Inhumans should be back?
Yeah.
Who came at me from that? For that?
There was a comment that said,
I invite them to come at me again for that. I'm pro Inhuman.
All right, let's end the poll. That's Tyler's pick of the week. I polled on it. Let's see what you guys had to say. Poll 54%, didn't read is 27%, pass 13%, and pick of the week 5%. Okay. All right.
I'm not alone. That's good to know.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hit the comment section and see what people are saying. I got to get this. Arsenio T Gaines says, I discovered you gays yesterday, and so far I'm loving what I'm seeing. Well, Arsenio, I've been called a lot of things, and I have nothing against it, but I am not a gay man. Tyler isn't either.
Well, you weren't very confident in that one, just like all my other friends.
Tyler, look, man, you are just the right gay guy at the right time to be here.
I've been called a male lesbian before.
That's hilarious. And by the way, if you didn't get my reference, that is a reference to Hulk Hogan, a promo he did with Vince McMahon, where he told Vince, I wasn't just the right gay guy at the right time.
It was a typo. Arsenio quickly said, sorry.
Yes.
That's a rough first comment. I'm sorry. Like
I know.
I appreciate you coming here, Arsenio, but man, your keyboard decided to betray you today.
At the worst time.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man. Let's see. James Jones. What's up, James Jones? Says Gail Simone keeps it real. Love Beast's kick-ass moment. New character Horse Girl had a great charm moment as well. Coming to terms with who she is. Yeah, and that's the stuff that we didn't say that we should have said. There are a lot of great character moments here with Horse Girl, who I feel like is kind of blowing up. She's the one of the new mutants who people are gravitating towards.
Because I still don't know what the fuck her power is, and that's exciting, honestly. And also, we should just keep calling her Horse Girl. I think that should stick.
I'm with you. Musa Rizik says pre-Krakoa is my favorite X-Men era. Yo, bro, you talking about the Matthew Rosenberg stuff? Talk to me, because you're the only person I've ever seen say that.
The one where he's just killing people willy-nilly when dust gets dusted? I think you unplugged yourself, Sean, there. Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Oh, you do love the Rosenberg stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep. I thought it was awesome because it finally felt like, oh shit, the world is making good on its promise of hating mutants. Like, what are they going to do? Little did I know that Hickman was going to say, we're just going to resurrect everybody. Mass resurrection. Here we go.
So one of the interesting things happening in X-Men, and I'm curious to see your take on this now that you're not reading the book, is that they are discovering there might be lasting effects to being resurrected multiple times.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's interesting. Okay, well, this is why you watch the Comics Pals for differing opinions.
Dude, Magneto is the first person that we're seeing experience this, and Magneto died like twice, and one of them he wasn't even resurrected through the protocols. Meanwhile, Wolverine died 50,000 times.
Healing factor.
Okay, Nightcrawler. We saw those characters get bodied. Yeah. Cyclops.
It's true. It's true. We'll
Just
see
to
what
put
happens.
just to put Magneto in a chair. Everything that they've done has felt so mechanical and so like we want this, so we're gonna put this square peg in a round hole. It's frustrating. Absolute Overthinker says I removed Uncanny from my pull list, but I am still picking up issues from the to finish this arc, and nothing I read makes me want to stay. I want to like it. Man, I'm sorry you're not enjoying it, dude. That sucks. Uh, but yeah, if you're not happy, take it off your pull list. No harm, no foul, dude. It's your money, and I think that's the right call. Matt Fisher with the 1999. Thank you, Matt. Always holding us down. Hello, you roving band of nomads. Not Jack Monroe. Did you see the new X-Men wave coming out next year? I'm waiting for my new Ultimate Figs. Did you know bird is the word? These diamond issues are ending me. Stupid censors. Hey, go ahead, Tyler.
He's referring to the new wave of X-Men Marvel Legends figures coming out.
Right.
And I gotta say, I do want that marrow. They're teasing more Marvel vs. Capcom figures of that era, and they're gonna fucking end me with that. Jesus Christ, I'm not gonna eat for a bit.
Oh man. Absolute Overthinker says, to be fair, there are just as many Batverse books, and I buy all of them and like all of them. I would put that to the test. I would challenge that. And I would say that I actually don't believe, and I could be wrong, I do not believe that there are actually more Batman books being published than X-Men books right now.
Should we try and think about it? We got
Let's do it.
the next book coming up, Batman Dark Patterns. We got Detective, Batman, Batman and Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl. So we're at 6. Birds of Prey. Adjacent, but I'm not going to consider it.
Batman and Robin year 1.
Year 1. Two-Face, Poison Ivy. Clayface. Just kidding. That's a new movie coming out. Harley Quinn.
Catwoman.
Man, we're at 11 right now. That's a good amount. I think X-Men is trying. They're giving it their damnedest, but they're not there yet.
But is that all? If that's all, then we can count the X books because there are more X books than 11.
Right now, so we got Uncanny X-Men. We got Storm, Phoenix, Wolverine, Laura Kinney. What else do we have? Exceptional X-Men, yep.
Mystique.
Dazzler, Mystique.
Sentinels. X Factor,
X4. So we're at more now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Interesting.
And there are more in the works. There are more in the.
There's at least 3 more than I haven't named that are coming out imminently.
Nuts. Cole says, I am surprised at how open Tom Brevoort is in his newsletter. He low-key sounds like he's complaining about taking the X-Men gig and its complications compared to the ease of the Avengers line. Dude, that's crazy. I got to check out his latest newsletter. I actually love Tom Brevoort. I'm a big fan of his. I hope to one day get to have him on the show or speak to him.
Yeah.
I appreciate his honesty. I got to check that out. But I believe it because think about the differences. There were 2 Avengers books. There was one to start with. Then we got Avengers Academy or the Initiative, excuse me. Then Mighty Avengers, and that was it. New Avengers, and
Dark,
yeah, that's it.
Eventually, and did he also edit the events?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brevoort's the guy that you put on things you need to have a veteran on to manage.
Yeah,
and there's a reason why he's on X-Men.
I'm not happy with the output, but I don't think it was a bad idea to put Tom on the job.
If anything, Tom might be saving the line from being catastrophic. Yeah. For all we know. Yeah.
Zaid Comics says, y'all on Marvel Rivals yet? Yes.
Bruh, join the Discord, bud. Everyone's on that.
Yeah, the Video Juegos channel has never been more popular than right now.
You think we're confusing non Spanish speakers? They're like, "Where's the video games channel? I don't know where to go for this."
I do think so because there was somebody who joined and was like, "Where's Marvel Rivals at?"
I
Like,
think we
well,
should maybe change that.
that's a Marco thing. Marco
Sure,
sort of took
sure,
over
yeah.
the Discord, and you can understand why some things are the way they are. Um, all right, I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. Laura Kinney, Wolverine #1. We've got more books to get into here. Erica Schultz, art by Giada Belviso, colors by Rachel Rosenberg, Corey Pettit on the letters. We just talked about how many X books there are, and here we are reviewing another one.
I mean, it's Laura Kinney Wolverine. I think both you and I are big fans, so it's hard to say no. NYX, there's another book. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Knicks. Fuck, we could go on and on.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many. No, you're right. I'm not unhappy that this book exists. And actually I liked it quite a bit for the most part. So it's a very basic premise. Laura Kinney's history goes back to essentially being used as a weapon, very similar origin to Wolverine in a lot of ways, made in a lab and all that good stuff. And she's taken her power back. And I don't think I can think of a character who more represents that idea than X-23 does. And so now, post Krakoa, she's felt a little bit lost, and she's been made aware of a missing mutant, a missing mutant who needs to be rescued. And she goes to this place where there are all these potentially misused mutants and uncovers a secret about that that shakes her and also gives her a newfound sort of mission in life.
Here's the thing about Erica Schultz's writing that I've come to enjoy. After reading some of her, Spider-Man adjacent stuff, her Hollow's Eve book I quite enjoyed, and she kind of created that character and stuff. She just keeps it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple. You know what I mean? I mean that in the most positive way possible. It's straightforward. It is just a comic. It's a straightforward comic book. She's telling a story that we get a beginning, middle, and end to, with a tease on what's to go for the future. This was a solid comic book to me. I don't think this is ever going to be, Dennis Camp's pick of the week to me. There's the subtext, and it's not, critiquing on something too deeply, but it is just a solid superhero story. And I think the bit in this too, that the villain is a mutant, as opposed to a human that's taking advantage of it's mutants taking advantage of mutants. I think that was an interesting twist, and maybe a play on self-hatred in a way that some people have, or self-prejudice, but in a story that's like straightforward. It's a revenge book. It's John Wick. And I think that works for Laura. I would like to see more of her supporting cast do more. I think Laura does well with the supporting cast because she's such an insular character. She needs people to kind of bounce off of. But I thought for her first issue, I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't actually like the opening issues of the book where they were establishing this missing person. I thought those were pretty weird. Um, I sort of wish we didn't see any of that, and we just knew that she had been, made aware of this going on and went on this mission and whatever. Um,
When you say those early pages, you like the stuff with Sophie and Kamala? Okay.
yeah, because she discovers the note inside the treehouse that this woman left her that says, my brother is a mutant, he's missing, whatever. I don't know. That was just so like basic as a premise that I don't think we needed it. I think it's so basic you can do without those pages. Once we got into things though, I liked it a lot because I already know what this is. It's like you said, it's very simple. You don't have to break the mold. Watching any Wolverine fight against whoever is always going to be fun. But watching X-23 do it when she has this purpose to go seek out these mutants to help them with the same type of thing that she had a problem with, which was being used by others. I think that's a great premise that will always work. And I think Erica Schultz made the most of it I really do. And by the way, let's mention Belviso because I think this fucking double pager here was fantastic.
I enjoyed that double page for its scarcity. You could overdo that page, and I don't think they
Yeah.
did it. It's specific. It's like, all right, we're gonna pick just 4 spots on this building to tell that story of essentially the raid up in that building. That was good, and I think Schultz and can you pronounce the artist's last name again for me?
Belviso?
Belviso. Yeah, they did a good job of choreographing the fight scenes. With an issue 1 X-23 Laura Kinney Wolverine book, you need some badass fight scenes. And there's that one bit where like she's dealing with an ex Morlock who has acid spit, which grossest mutant power I've seen in a while. It reminds me of like Snot Boy, one of those Jason Aaron X-Men characters.
Right.
And a guy like she chops one guy's arm off or hand off, and he grows it right back. I'm like, oh shit, these are mutants. It's gross. It's fun. I mean, for a book dealing with mutant trafficking. Again, kind of fun for what they were doing in it.
And my favorite panel throughout the whole book was a very simple one. And it was this one right here when Laura lets her claws out and she's got this smile on her face because you know what she's about to do. And you know she loves her dirty work.
She's comfortable where she is.
Yeah, exactly. This is where she feels right. Um, I enjoyed this a lot. I thought it was a ton of fun. It's got, there's a story there. It's a simple one. It's an effective one. I really love this character. She's been written great before, and I think that Erica Schultz may have something under her sleeve. Now, I don't know if the cliffhanger with Elektra did anything for me. Like having like, oh hey, the only thing I thought about when I saw those two characters together was like, oh hey, we both took some man's identity and made it ours. That's the only thing I could think of.
My only thought I had was, oh, hot woman fighting.
Well, two different brains here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about them teaming up, fighting, whatever it's going to be. Ultimately, it'll be both. But this as an individual issue, I enjoyed a lot.
My one gripe is she should use the Foot Claw a little more.
Yeah. Agreed.
Which is the most minimal gripe I could have about a book.
But it's what makes her. It's like the only like real difference between her
Physically,
and yeah.
I don't think she used it once in the fight scene. I'm like, come on,
Yeah, for sure.
kick a guy in the nuts and then hear the sound effect. We don't got to see it, but we can hear it.
That's brutal and disgusting. I'm gonna pull for sure.
Yeah, I recommend this. It's funny because Laura Kinney has always kind of existed outside of the main X-Men. It wasn't only really till Krakoa where she started interacting with more people, and a little bit before with Tom Taylor stuff, once she got the Wolverine mantle. So her kind of trotting off on her own to do her own mission makes sense, whereas it feels a little out of character for like a Storm or a Phoenix.
Yeah.
I think it's innate for this character.
Yep, I agree. She's one of those mutants, one of the few mutants who can anchor a solo series and have it feel right for whatever reason. We've got a couple super chats here from Matt Fisher. By the way, super chats are open if you guys do feel like contributing. This podcast is supported exclusively by you all. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. Hit the like button. Super chats are not the only way that you can contribute to the cause. Make sure you're subscribed if you are not. We want to get to 5,000 subscribers here sometime soon, and that's the only way we can get there is if you guys hit that button. So thank you. Matt Fisher with the $9.99 spot. Where did this top-notch Batman start coming from? No giant robots, no multiverse, just detective work, pow, and some Mad Hatter stuff. Batman Dark Patterns was great. Off topic, sorry. Well, not totally off topic because we are going to be getting into that as it is our next book on the docket. And we'll talk to you about what we thought about it here in a few moments. But yeah, I agree essentially with what you're saying.
And Matt also gave us another $4.99 for Laura Kinney Wolverine as one done for me. I read way too much other stuff to justify it. It's fair. I think it's one of the downsides to the X-Men line right now. Is there's so much, it gives people more justification to drop something.
And I sort of think, Matt, that's where I'm at. It didn't like I remember the Tom Taylor version, where it had the right mix of the action, the supporting cast, the story,
The art, David Marquez. Or no,
art.
sorry. Shit, I'm forgetting who the artist was,
I don't
but yeah,
remember who it
yeah.
was, unfortunately. But like it just had all those ingredients that made me want to keep coming back. Whereas this was a great like issue, but I don't know if that parlays into a series that I need to follow going forward. There's too many books.
Is he gonna get an issue 2 from you?
That's gonna be one of those decisions I make when I'm
So
there.
it's dependent on when you get there, if you see it, and if Diamond ships it. Got it.
Right. Well, thankfully, I haven't had any issues getting my Marvel books. It was only the Image books that I was unable to get, and that only lasted 1 week. Closing the poll now. Didn't read or buy. I added buy because a lot of you may not have bought it. 41%. Pull 34%. Pass 20%. And pick of the week only 3%. So not this book didn't go over with you guys too well. That's unfortunate. Absolute Overthinker says Batman is killer right now. I thought Batman and Robin was probably my pick of the week, or it's a three-way tie with Green Lantern and Ultimates one shot. Okay.
Green Lantern and Batman and Robin are on my pile. So I will get to them
Likewise.
eventually. Don't give them clues.
Oh shit.
Damn.
Some people saw that Marco and I actually met up yesterday and went to the shop together.
Please tell me you started picking stuff in that video that you did not buy just to throw people off.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. And I was trying to get Marco, and maybe this is wrong to do, I don't know. But I was trying to get Marco to show you guys the guy from my LCS that's always fucking picking up all the comics.
Mittens?
Yeah, mittens. I was trying to get Marco to show him, but he didn't. So I'm sorry.
People in the comments of that short were like, "Where is he?"
He was there. That was the first thing I showed to Marco was that guy was there. But yeah, so go watch that. I mean, it's a nothing video. It's just me at my LCS grabbing comics. It's not a great representation though of my LCS. We did it just because Marco happened to be there, but it wasn't packed at all. So it doesn't look the way I describe it, but that's not because I'm telling tall tales. It's because there just weren't that many people there that day. Okay, let's get into the next book. Let's go into DC and let's talk about Batman Dark Patterns, #1. This is written by Dan Waters with art by Hayden Sherman, Triona Farrell on the colors, Frank Vetkovic on the letters, and that is our creative team. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Dark Patterns is going to be a series of I believe it's four 3-issue stories that are each sort of with a detective mystery bend to them. And this first one is called We Are the Wounded. And I gotta say, this was a really, really strong contender for me for pick of the week. Very,
Same. Yeah.
yeah, very bare bones. Batman, Gordon, some other creepy guy investigating a mysterious death. And Batman has his theories. He's kind of postulating that this third man may not be all that he claims to be. And Dan Waters actually finds an oddly clever but sort of goofy way to present a character for Batman to fight that requires Batman to think sort of outside the box to deal with.
I really like this issue. I think Matt Fisher, mentioned, Batman going back to just detective roots. I enjoy that because a lot of the time, mainline Batman books have to, tell a big story. They have to tell a DC story, where this is a Gotham story. This is Batman being a detective and solving almost a Seven-esque case, a series of like grisly murders. Like, who's the murderer? Why is he the murderer? How do I stop him? Simple, straightforward. But telling it in a way that Dan Waters has a really good way of doing. We saw it in the One Hand, which he did, and the backups on, I believe, Detective or Batman. He's been in the Batman world a
Detective.
bit, but he really has a knack for that, dark noir detective story with maybe a hint or a looming presence of something other. That I think he's just doing really well here. But like the real star is Hayden Sherman. They kill it in this. Some of the use of the colors of the animated series Batman in this, I think, is a good deal. With Triano Farrell doing that as well. There's that yellow that's present throughout. It's the one that it would be essentially the logo of the Batman suit from the animated series, mixed with blues and blacks, and it kind of really felt like an extension of that in a way. But also the story would too. Like I can see, We Are the Wounded being a title card for the animated series. Um, and it feels inspired by just plain old Batman one and done detective stories. And I thought this was really good. I'm excited to see more of it.
Yeah, I was not overly enthralled by the mystery aspect of this one. It was sort of bare bones.
That's fair, and especially once I watch deathmatch wrestling, a guy full of thumbtacks is nothing new to me.
But the vibe of this book was what I liked so much. It very much harkens back to, an earlier era of the Batman character, an era that I appreciate and think is under observed. His earlier years with the more detective bent. And Dan Waters does do a good job of representing that this is an earlier iteration of Batman. Particularly, Batman gets injured and I feel like you very rarely in a comic book today, you'll see Bruce patching himself up or whatever. But very rarely in a comic book today will you see a panel like this one, where Bruce is just against the wall of an apartment building in an alleyway with blood leaking from his body.
And I think the next page too, Sean, it's like close up of him doing his own stitches,
Yeah, yep.
which is gross. It's disgusting. Which you don't see that in like that is not a panel you would see in Batman nowadays.
Yeah, it just felt very old school, which I liked a lot. I also really love this panel right here where Batman's pouch is very prominent, and I love the yellows there as well.
You know what I was getting a lot from Sherman's art, and it feels different than Wonder Woman. It feels
Oh
distinctly
yeah.
different than Absolute Wonder Woman, but they almost channel Tim Sale in this. I get a lot the way Batman's cowl looks, his eyes, his ears being extra pointy, feels a lot like Long Halloween Tim Sale, and that feels purposeful. Um,
Sure.
and it hits a tone that I think is a sweet spot for me with Batman books.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect from Hayden's art in this because, like you say, it is quite different than what we got in Absolute Wonder Woman, and we knew that coming in because we'd seen some preview material.
And we knew Hayden had been working on this, I think, longer than Wonder Woman as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this, from what I understand, this has been in the works for some time. And so seeing the way that Hayden approaches this and the differences are awesome. It's not to say that like there are still a lot of clever paneling here. Like this is one of my favorites too. I've been pointing them out all freaking review. Look at this shit. This is this is Batman's body. That's what it would be. But inside the body of Batman are these panels, right? Like I just love that presentation. So it's like this panel, this big panel with Batman is the whole page, but inside of Batman are the rest of the panels that fill this out and make this a six panel page. I just love that.
It's so much the panel shapes are weird. Like if you
Yep.
bring up that stitching page again, it's almost like the only way I can describe it is like these like quarter moon shapes. It almost feels like a Simon game, like the buttons on a Simon game. Like there's like these weird curved things. It is non-traditional,
Well,
but
they look like they fit the environment.
yeah, they almost fit in. Yeah, um, they're non-traditional, but the key is like it's not hard to read. It's
Yeah.
clear about which way to look, which I think is a skill that is hard to pull off because when it's pulled off right, you don't notice it, and that's the point.
Dude, I am obsessed with the art of this book. Like I love this one too, where you can see like Batman's cape kind of flowing into the next page and down, and then all the panels underneath it are angular like that. There's just so much attention to detail, so much great art in this book that, like, yeah, it needs to have a story, it needs words, it needs a plot, but all that is secondary.
Hayden might be up there for like potential artist of the year. Like they're doing some killer work in this latter, third of the year.
Sure.
Hayden Sherman's a name that I look out for now.
Totally.
Like no offense to Dan Waters, but this was the Hayden Sherman book that I was interested in.
Definitely. Like if I had to judge this solely off of the writing, I wouldn't really have that much to say. Like it's fine. It's the art that takes this particular book to another level for me. Easy pull.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised how little variance this book had. It had one, which I'm like, come on. This is in the preview page of all the issues last week. Give it a little more variance. But
Because all you need is that cover A, dude.
that's true, but that's like a hard cover for me to work with.
Fair. Yeah. Um, let's hit some comments up. Joseph Wolf says this book was awesome. Hayden's art style is so malleable while still doing really interesting paneling. Yeah, totally agree. Um, what else do we have? James Jones. I don't need another great Batman book, and yet I got another great Batman book. Boom. Yeah.
You will get it and you will like it, James Jones.
Yeah. And what's not to like? What's not to like? It's a fantastic book. Jedi Ty says pick of the week for me, and I almost didn't pick it up. Oof, that would have been a mistake. Comic Book History says, so at first I thought this was like some dry year one clone, but by the end this book had me hooked. The new bad guy was awesome.
Banksy Main here says, going back to you guys' writer-artist conversation, I only picked this up because Sherman was on art. Yeah.
Fair. Good. Yeah. Frankly, like, I probably wouldn't have picked it up if Hayden Sherman wasn't on the art either.
I wouldn't have either. I don't need another. It was James Jones that said, I don't need another Batman book. I've got enough. Yeah. I've had my fill. I will read it when the buzz is there, when it's collected to pick up. Because honestly, I think at my core, I prefer reading Batman collected. Like a good one and done Batman story is a thing that lives on my bookshelf, But I can't deny this book was good.
Now we're about to shift into Superwoman Special #1, which was the book that you guys chose to be a part of the show through the voting process, which you can do at youtube.com/thecomics under the community tab. This book won out over Green Lantern, which I thought would win, but you guys wanted to hear us discuss Superwoman Special, so we will do that. But I want to make you aware that we've got a new poll up right now, and this poll is a bit of a challenge and a bit of a test, because on this poll are no Marvel or DC comics. We have The Moon is Following Us #5, which is at 14% of the vote. We have TMNT #5, which is at 24% of the vote. The Power Fantasy 5, which is 27%, and Rockefellers #2, which is currently winning with 35%. The problem is that we have a very low vote count for this time of the day, and I think the reason is because there are no Marvel or DC books on this poll. So this is for all of you people who always say you want to hear more indie books. Go vote and prove it. I want to see this poll get more than 500 votes. If that happens, that will tell me that you guys really care about hearing us talk about indie comics, and that's going to influence the show. But you got to vote.
We need to read more indie comics like the global IP that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hey.
Honestly, Rockefellers looks like it's a Christmas issue. I'm just saying. Could be a good pick.
And TMNT is not even winning.
And honestly, I do like TMNT. It's a good run so far. This is the Casey Jones issue, guys. Come on. That could be a good pick.
Yep.
Moon is Following Us. Really fucking weird book, but good.
It's tremendous. So get your vote on. Make sure you cast your vote. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong like you did this week with Transformers not winning. That was surprising.
Prove me right you did, that Superwoman should not have won. This was
Oh, whoa!
written by
Right
Joshua.
off the bat,
Huh?
right off the bat, you're showing your what you think of this book.
Yep. Joshua Williamson, art by Edwin Galman, Laura Braga, and Nicola Mesija. Colors by Rex Locust, letters by Dave Sharp. So, you were wondering, how did Lois Lane acquire her powers, weren't you? Well, Joshua Williamson is here to tell you, and he is here to tell you in maybe the most uninteresting one shot I have read this year. This story feels very, very superfluous. Like, there wasn't any reason for this to exist.
I not that this could have been an email. That feels rude.
It could
Uh,
have.
but this could have been in Superman. I think there's a lot of stuff here that we could have been piece fed or like gotten fed piecemeal throughout Superman that Williamson's writing with Dan Mora. But we had to have a time jump where she already exists. But like you can tell, you can hint at what happened in the past. Like there's not much new that we learn here. The only thing new that we learn here is that she was wearing that Lex suit that got infected by Amazo, which we knew in Absolute Power, but then she tried to go to the final battle and something happened. But like we learned that something happened. We don't know exactly what happened still. We have an idea of whose power set she might have finally.
Yeah.
But I don't know why this couldn't be in Superman proper.
Do you know why? Because they wanted to put out a book that they could charge $5.99 for.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's Superwoman, aka Lois Lane, teaming up with Superwoman, aka
Red Superwoman.
Red Superwoman. Now Lois is Blue Superwoman. And who's the other one?
Supergirl.
Supergirl. Thank
Yeah.
you. And it's just like you would think that those three teaming up, something really awesome could happen, but nothing awesome happens.
I would have liked that team up if it wasn't just framing for exposition.
Exposition. This was Exposition, the comic.
Yeah, yeah, and like the thing is, like the art, I thought the art was pretty good too, but it's just the exposition is explaining what we're seeing because it's under the frame of Lois telling her friends the story while they're doing superheroics.
And the frame of her trying to write this story about Superwoman herself, aka herself, that she ends up apparently going to delete. She deletes anyway. Okay, like why DC?
It maybe makes sense if you're like if you started with All In and you didn't read Absolute Power and this is where your jumping on point was, then it maybe makes sense. But like as somebody who's reading all this stuff, it's superfluous for me. Putting the super in superfluous. And at the same time, like, where the hell are the kids? Where are those two kids you're dealing with? Somebody call CPS. Those kids are missing.
I just feel like there was a way to get the 5 most important pages in this comic and put them in a backup in Superman. This is just it's unnecessary. I feel like there are way better uses of Josh Williamson's time than this. I'm not blaming him because what can you do with this? Like DC says, "Hey, we need this book." And he says, "Okay, presumably that's how it goes down in my mind." But what is there to do with this story?
I can't believe you're gunning for a backup instead.
Well, dude, I paid $5.99, bro. Like, why?
You'd be paying $5.99 an issue of Superman instead to read it in pieces. That's not. I mean, like Action Comics has a Supergirl backup that I think is actually really interesting. So I'm not anti-backup, but this feels like somebody could have told him that. I agree.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. And quite frankly, I had problems with the art. Lois's shoes were changing constantly. There were instances where it didn't even look like she had feet at all.
Let the record show, Sean noticed that, not me.
I was I was pretty frustrated with this comic book as a whole, and I feel duped. And this is one of those times where it's like, you got to respect us more than this. You know, how was I supposed to know that nothing would happen in this comic book?
By buying and reading it, Sean. Here's my gripe. Clark Kent and Superman, you got the glasses and you got the body language. That's how you can, trick people into showing that Clark Kent is not Superman. What are they doing? What's Lois doing?
Nothing.
Her
Just
hair's
looking in the
different?
camera.
Does nobody
Just-
notice?
just- Huh?
Nobody notices that Lois Lane is flying around now, which then would piece back that she's married to Clark Kent, who has had rumors about being. Come on, come on. My suspension of disbelief can only go so far.
I'm over the Superman family as a whole.
Well,
I-
apparently everyone else is.
I'm done with it. I don't like it. It's frustrating.
In
There
what
are
sense?
too many people here. There are too many people here. They all have the exact same power set. Essentially, they all fly around and can tear stuff up quickly. It feels like there's no need for all of these super people, and they're redundant. Superwoman Red and Superwoman Blue. Nah, bro. And I know Lois will lose her powers. Like, this is a gimmick that will not last. But it's like anybody. It's like Oprah. You get superpowers and you can be a Superman and you're a Supergirl and you're a Superwoman. It's enough.
Absolute overthinker says here. Does the ending redeem it somewhat? That was pretty intriguing, I thought. Still not a $5.99 book, but that did something for me.
The ending being that apparently she got Zod's powers.
How? Where the fuck was Zod? Zod wasn't at Earth, was he?
I don't know. Man.
Did Amanda Waller have like a vestige of Zod's powers from when he was a Suicide Squad member for a spell?
I truly
You know,
don't know.
you know what we need? Zod Special #1.
Like it would like that's fine. She got Zod's powers. All right, sure. Whatever. I don't even care what the explanation is. That's fine on its face. But you could have told me that in a 1-page, 2-page thing. The same way that was an epilogue and it was the most important thing in this, that could have been an epilogue in any fucking comic book.
You could have told what new came in the story in 3 pages.
Yeah. Absolutely. For me, this is a very, very strong pass. In fact, it's such a strong pass that I'm going to double red flag it. And I'm going to tell you that you should save. I rarely ever say this. You should save $5.99. If you have not purchased this already, you should save $5.99 and just listen to the fact that we just told you that Lois's powers came from Zod and call it a day.
Matt Fisher with a $1.99 super chat. Kneel before Zois. Doesn't have the same ring to it. So this is a pass from me too. I am liking Williamson's Superman stuff, but this just seems unnecessary.
Yeah, this was frustrating. I really wish this hadn't won the poll, although frankly I would have bought it anyway because I trust Williamson. And again, I'm not really laying this at his feet. I think he probably had to do this, and he didn't necessarily have a story because the story is not about Lois. It's about Superman, and it's about the fact that she got Zod's powers, but it's not about her. So she says in this very book, she's not comfortable with herself being the star of the show. She's not comfortable being in the front, in the foreground.
And one thing I kind of annoyed me about the book was it's framed around the fact that Lois is not used to being the star of the show, and that she's so used to being on the sidelines. No, Lois was never on the sidelines. Maybe physically, but Lois was always doing something.
Sure.
She was doing what she could, and I never viewed her as being on the sidelines. She was a super heroic in her own way, which I felt like is diminutive to her previous role.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. This just didn't work. Does the ending redeem it? No, not at all. It doesn't. It's whatever. Tom Account says, I cannot refuse Lois after reading the DC Finest edition. Savage takedowns of Clark virtually every time she appears. Lois is a great character. She doesn't need powers to be great. And I really I know that there have been a lot of times in history where the human supporting cast gets powers. Mary Jane has powers right now. I despise that trope. It invalidates the main hero, whoever that is, and it also invalidates the role that the average non-powered people play in their lives. Lois is an integral person to Superman without powers. That matters. Who in his life doesn't have powers now but Jimmy? You know, and he has powers. He has the power to pull every baddie. Look at that
Riz, the
girl he was
power
with.
of Riz. Yeah.
Yes.
He's with what, Silver Banshee right now? Is that who he's with?
I don't even know who she was.
Siobhan. I think it's Silver Banshee.
Matt Fisher with the 199. Kneel before Loid. Loid. I don't know if that one works
That looks
either.
like Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Who's
Kneel before
Lloyd?
Lloyd. I don't know. That sounds like a disease. I got the Lloyds, man. All right. Well, that's the book you guys voted for. Vote for a better one this week, please.
I mean, those four you got listed are all pretty good. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And finally, for the review portion of the show, let's get into the book from Boom. We haven't done a Boom book, I feel like, in a little while. In Bloom by Michael Conrad with art by John Pearson and art assists by Lola Bonato. Letters by Pat Brousseau.
John Pearson, is that a Spawn artist?
Don't know.
Hmm.
I can't think of anything that John Pearson has done.
It's getting real Spawn vibes from the art in this.
The premise is pretty simple. This world has something called the bloom, where people are infected by some kind of a virus that appears to have its origins in plants and plant life and things like that. And blooming is now a cool thing. People want this to happen to them. It's like they're being taken over. It reminds me of The Last of Us and the spores and all that stuff. The story follows a guy who doesn't want this to happen to him. He's not interested in blooming. He's got an axe to grind against this concept. And he's tracking a series of murders that are happening to people who have bloomed. And trying to uncover who the killer is and what the motive is and all that jazz. What do you think about this one, Tyler?
This didn't do anything for me, unfortunately. The premise of people blooming to, I guess, be like this new, better version of the human race and how they exist with people who are not bloomed. I didn't understand it. I don't think it really fleshed it out too well. I wasn't quite sure what the benefits of blooming were. I don't think that was really explained too well. The Pearson art was interesting. I just looked him up. I recognized Pearson from some issues of the Department of Truth.
Okay.
I think like the L. Ron Hubbard stuff, if that rings a bell.
Yes.
Which I like the art, but I felt like it was a little sparse here. There are some bits where like it's just two people talking, which I don't think does Pearson any favors with his art. It's not that it wasn't dynamic in the way it was laid out. It's just talking heads at some parts. But it wasn't. I hate bagging on, like a creator-owned book. So I'm not gonna bag on this, but I was bored, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I really wanted to like this for a variety of reasons, but I agree with everything you said. I really couldn't connect with this at all. The protagonist, I didn't care for him. He wasn't interesting to me. And the story of the bloom is, I mean, they don't explicitly say how this started. I don't believe we get a ton
I
of
don't
answers,
remember
which is
it. No.
okay. It's just the first issue. But there it doesn't appear that these people have powers necessarily. I have a hard time believing that this would become in vogue because they look fucking creepy.
It's Zootopia for
Uh,
mushroom people. Like,
yeah. And then there was this weird angle of this drink that they created that they get from old people who they kill, they
oh
euthanize
yeah,
them,
yeah.
which was like, all right, well, that's horrific, but
Well,
why?
which that bit let Pearson do some wild stuff. That one page where Grandma is in a vat of of dip from Roger Rabbit was disgusting.
Yeah.
But I think that let Pearson actually spread his wings a bit here, and that was one of my favorite pages in it.
That was the best part of the book, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. Seeing seeing someone's grandma get murked,
They cook grandma.
got run over by a reindeer. No, vat of goo.
But also, this was crazy as hell.
It's gross. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't show that. Whoops. My bad, YouTube.
Oh, YouTube, you didn't see that.
Yeah, that was disgusting and like really cool looking, but I just don't think there was anything else here for me. Like this was so bare bones that it felt like Conrad had a good premise. Like he had a big idea. He just wasn't sure how to bring it to life in a way that's enrapturing. Like you think about The Last of Us, and obviously that's a different medium, but it's very immediately evocative. And there's a lot more happening there than just the, post-apocalyptic, like, spore shit. There's a lot of other stuff in play. There's very compelling characters and supporting characters and themes, and I wasn't picking up anything out of this.
Me neither. Yeah, I feel like the story was so preoccupied with trying to explain things to us that there's no real story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I almost rather learn about the Bloom and this dichotomy between bloomed characters and not bloomed characters without that exposition. Like I wish the story would teach us that. I think of Ram V's the One Hand, not Six Fingers. That was the Dan Waters one, but the One Hand kind of you learned the world through the actions and what happens in the story. This issue one, I think, is too preoccupied with trying to explain something that I don't feel like is actually ever explained.
Yeah. And I just don't think that things are presented in the most interesting way possible. Like there's this murder mystery, but I don't so what? Like someone is killing people who have bloomed. All right.
It didn't help that I just read Batman Dark Patterns right before it, which is a very similar premise of detective finding a series of dead bodies that were maimed in certain ways and trying to find something out. This was the inferior of the two.
The thing is that to me, in my mind, rarely is the mystery of a mystery story the most compelling
Yes.
part of the story.
Yes.
Everything around it has to be made very compelling because you're not going to know what you want to know for a long time. So when you read something like Batman and it's a mystery and a detective story, first of all, there was way more information in that than there was in this. But second of all, Batman is immediately interesting. It's fucking Batman. And you can't obviously not every story can have Batman in it, but you think about the interesting mystery characters, protagonists, there's something about them that's like raw and compelling, and we didn't get that here. There's no one to follow and care about.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you anyone's name, to be honest, which I think is not a good sign for an issue one.
Yeah, agreed. Um, yeah, I don't have much good to say about this. I wanted to like it a lot, but unfortunately, I think it missed the mark in just about every way. The concept is compelling. It's the execution on the writing and art front that are lacking. And frankly, I could have been cool with the art because there are some interesting bits, but the story just doesn't get there. It doesn't land. It doesn't land.
Well, in regards to In Bloom, Matt Fisher gave us another 199 for Kneel Before Blooming. Unfortunately, I will not be kneeling before this book. This is a pass for me. I'm reading so many superhero books right now that you gotta blow my pants off at an indie book to really get me to want to read that on a monthly level. I like reading stuff in trade, with this kind of stuff, but like Department of Truth, I read every month it comes out. and I'm excited for it. But that's blowing my pants off. My pants are clean off for that book. I'm pantsless. This book, the belt was tight. They were on. Didn't do much for me.
I'm reading too many good indie books to keep up with a book that's not stellar.
Just not monstrous.
Well, listen. At some point, you have to fucking shit or get off the pot. Like, finish the story, please, my God. Even Cody Rhodes finished his story. Cody Rhodes' story hadn't even started yet before Monstrous started. Think about that.
Was he Stardust still at that point?
He wasn't even Stardust yet. That's pre-Stardust.
That's pre-Stardust?
Bro, Monstrous. You're talking about between 2011 and 2014 is where that had to have started.
God, for all you comics book fans who are also wrestling fans, I'm sure you're eating this discussion up.
I'm looking it up right fucking now. When did this start?
Let's say
2015. Okay, so I was off by a year. It's still almost a decade ago. Like,
wow.
Please.
Wow.
And I liked the book. I enjoyed it a lot when I was reading it. But, things have to end. What is it, Spider-Man? This is going to go on for 60 years? Just so I get it out there, I'm passing on In Bloom. It just wasn't for me, unfortunately. And apparently it wasn't for you guys either. Didn't buy or read is 84% of the vote. Poll was 15, pass was 0, and pick of the week was 0. So,
hey, nobody passed on
it. All right. You could take it that way too.
Selective reading of results, yeah.
Yes. Oh man. The Game Awards are on.
You expecting anything?
I don't expect anything as far as announcements are concerned, but I would like to see some kind of God of War something.
Are we due?
I'm a God of War guy.
Are we due?
Sorry?
Are we due for a new one?
No.
No.
What I'm hoping for is like a remaster of the original God of Wars, or the announcement of God of War 3 to come in 2026.
Do we have a release date for the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake?
Sure.
Okay, this is not a video game podcast. We don't know these things offhand.
Yeah, this ain't the video game pals.
No, nice.
That's old lore.
Yeah. Okay. I have no expectations for it. Maybe a Fortnite skin. I don't know.
Aye.
My friend just got $270 from that Epic Games class action lawsuit. You did? My friend did. He sent me a picture of his check in the mail. He's like, "Yo, I spent V-Bucks in 2020 and I got this now."
Yo, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah. I'm like, use that on more V-Bucks is what I wish to tell him.
Right. That would be a shame. We're going to get into the stack here in just a moment. So let me see your numbers come in, please. Get those stack guesses in. Sean's Stack is a game that we play here on the show to close out the show every Thursday because I buy a bunch of comics and I'm trying to lower that amount. So being forthcoming and transparent with you guys through my trials and tribulations is helping me. And if you've been tracking my progress, you know there have been some ups and downs, but I think I'm on the path to recovery. So let me see those numbers. Whoever's closest without going over can win the code to any of the Marvel books that I bought this week, or of course the no prize. So that'll be up to you. We've got numbers rolling in. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me go through these numbers here. So we got Nier with 15 for the stack. James Jones, 16 for the stack. LCS Sheriff lives. Video evidence now of the LCS Sheriff in action. 14 for the stack. This is from Jedi Ty. Steve Canaris with 17. Jack Cloutier with 16. Atomic Hound. It's Stack Light this week. I read that as Light Sack this week, and I was like, oh, okay. Atomic Hound with 10. Joseph Wolf with 14. Cole with 12. Rami Darwish, 15. Sean Ali, 18. Neighborhood Merc, 14. Jabez Creed, 8. I don't recognize that name. Hello, Jabez Creed. Comic Book History with 16. Also wondering if you're doing a Craven the Hunter review tomorrow. That's a hard no. I'm just going to say that.
Are you? Yeah, we're definitely not reviewing that. Are you seeing it?
I might. I got no plans for tomorrow, and I might be bored enough to go. I have an Alamo draft out season pass, so it's like $1 ticket for me. It's just I start spending the money on the food. It's where it gets me, But I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I don't have plans for tomorrow night either, but I'd rather see Gladiator 2 because I
Oh
missed
yeah,
that.
yeah. See Wicked. It's right down your alley.
Do I look like a guy?
Who enjoys cinema? Apparently not.
Do I look like a guy who enjoys Wicked? No,
Wow,
I do
Sean,
not.
Sean, not defying gravity this weekend. That's for sure. So you're not gonna get me with this name. IP Freely with 17, and then Absolute Overthinker who took the longest to come up with a number. Probably overthinking it. Today is the 12th. I'll go with 12. See, he's overthought it, but he might be right. Who knows?
Near says, "How was the not a violent guy at your LCS?" He was so Marco and I were filming the video that's up on our YouTube page right now, and he was actually standing closer to the counter area, and I guess he was like I guess he was putting his books together that he purchased for the day. The thing with that guy that you guys got to understand is that he doesn't go there to buy books. He goes there to chill. So he goes there, he meticulously picks out his books, but then he's there after. So like the fact that I saw him with his purchased comics means nothing because he ain't leaving. He ain't leaving until he's had the opportunity to berate someone of color about comics. And by the way, I'm not trying to imply that he's a racist. It's just that a few weeks ago I saw him not berating, but just white splaining, comic splaining comics to some individuals who I don't know that they needed his lecture. It was really funny. So Tyler, real quick,
Yeah,
you're going to the movies tomorrow, maybe, right?
possibly,
Me too.
possibly, yeah, possibly.
All right. Let's go. Let's go watch Craven together. All right. But not just us, because that'd be weird, right? Like we're not dating, right?
Well,
Let's bring some people with us. Who do you want? Who
Who do I
from the
bring?
audience
Who
are
do I
we going to
bring?
bring? Who's coming?
oh, Atomic Count.
Atomic Hound's coming. Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
My only worry about bringing Atomic Hound
You don't let dogs in the theater.
is that
Yeah.
they don't let dogs into the theater.
Yeah.
You might pee on the floor. That it's a whole like I can't.
And you
feed
can't
a
even like
popcorn
pretend
to-
it's your seeing eye dog. You're going to the movies.
right. And I'm
What
wearing
are you
glasses.
listening? Listen to the movie? Audio.
What about Dan Trudeau? Bringing Dan.
He might tell me the truth of the movie mid movie, like a VH1 music video pop fact.
So you're saying he's a big talker?
I'm like,
during
dude, come on!
movies.
I'm trying to watch, this guy with a really old wife, do this movie. I need to see this poor groomed boy.
Near says he'd go, but
He might be too far.
he's the thing with Near is that he needs to sit close to the screen, and I can't do that, bro. Those first 2-3 rows, that's not for me,
Everyone
bro.
looks like Megamind.
Yeah, you ever do that, make
Dude,
that mistake, and you end up
I
looking like this?
Have a
Kind of
distinct memory. Distinct memory. It was seeing Attack of the Clones as a child. We were running late, my whole family. It was my mom, my dad, my brother, and I. And that's all the seats they had left. This is before assigned seating. And my dad was pissed. He's like, oh, fuck, we got to sit in the front row. My dad's like a big dude, too. So, like, being able to, like, see that. And I remember I was like, oh, he's annoyed. I have to be annoyed now. And that I didn't like the movie. I think I fell asleep. It was just too hard to look at. Can't do it. Near, I'm sorry. If that's your bag.
Joseph Wolf says, I love talking during movies. I'm quiet just about everywhere else. See, so you can't come with us.
Topsy-turvy town over here. Jeez.
Yeah, you can't come with us. How about Absolute Overthinker? We bringing him?
I don't know. He might be wishy-washy on it. He might just think about going. Yeah.
I hate that.
IP Freely not going to the theaters with him.
Definitely not, bro.
Pissing everywhere.
Yeah, you're gonna get me banned, and I don't want that. Rami Darwish. Rami can come.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I got no issues. Yeah.
Yeah. How about Cole? You bringing Cole?
I mean, getting cold this close to Christmas, I think I'm out.
Ah, fuck. How about Steve Canaris?
I got no puns for Steve, so
Steve's in. Steve Canaris is in. How about James Jones? Is he in?
James Jones. You know what? Maybe.
I like James. James is in.
He kind of knows the numbers for the stack a little too much. He's got me a little suspicious.
That is true. He's
up to
true.
something.
And yeah, he could be doing something.
He might be
behind the
Mittens
scenes.
himself.
He might be what?
Mittens. The guy I'm now calling admittance at your comic book store.
How about Matt Fisher?
I mean, sure, he might even pay for the popcorn at this point.
Matt
I think
Fisher
he's paid for our popcorn tomorrow.
Matt Fisher is welcome wherever I go.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. So, Matt, if you want to come to the movies, you're welcome to come to the movies.
Styles Sears is always bagging on us. I'm gonna say no to Styles Sears. He's bagging on us in chat.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, he's always talking shit.
I'm doing a comic book podcast. I'm obviously not doing great.
All right. Let's get to the
busting the audience's balls. Based on our numbers and our demographic, according to YouTube, that's the only thing we can bust for these people.
Oh my goodness, I love it. If more of you comment, we'll see if you're welcome to come to the fucking movies with us. And the answer may well be no, but you never know if you don't say anything. Oh, comic tropes. Comic Tropes is absolutely welcome to come to the movies.
Especially if he's doing a little Craven sketch during the movie. I think that's allowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lighting might be bad, but
hey, sure I went to the movies and saw a woman knitting. So if she
that might have been my ex-wife.
It wasn't.
Good.
I'm telling you right now, it wasn't. There were some differences.
Interesting.
Hey, it's good to see you, Comic Tropes. Comic Tropes runs a fantastic YouTube channel that you guys should absolutely join. If you have not, I don't know what you're doing.
Great social media follow too.
Yeah. You might see him drawing something, interviewing somebody. You never know. You never know what you might see with Comic Tropes. All right, let's get into the stack so we can get you guys out of here. Let us all go watch the Game Awards. We've got the 6 books that we already reviewed. We've got Transformers number 15. I have not read this yet. We've got Kaya number 23. I need to find issue 20. I have not read Kaya since issue 19 because I have not found issue 20.
Damn. Hate to see it.
I know. Terminator number 3. Supporting my boy Sal Crivelli of Comic Pop. Green Lantern number 18. Very excited to read this. This has been stellar. You guys already know. Batman and Robin 16. I haven't read this, but I've heard amazing things. I've heard really good things about this.
I'm liking the series so far.
Yeah. Incredible Hulk number 20. I'm so behind.
Is that my boy Werewolf by Night?
It's a werewolf. Is he by night? Remains to be seen. This is drawn by Danny Earls, though, I think.
Oh, hold on.
No. Yeah, I think this. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is Danny Earls. Yep.
Fuck yeah. Danny Earls is killing it.
And it's the start of a new arc. Wolves of the Old World.
Somebody said in our chat recently that Incredible Hulk is boring right now. Yeah. What are you reading?
I get what they mean, though.
Wait, hold on.
Sorry?
Samuel Summers here with the $2 super chat asking he wants to come to Craven with us. Is he allowed?
Samuel Summers can definitely come to the movies with us. 100%. He's a Summers boy.
Another one. Yeah, I mean, that's comics for you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You just don't talk during the movie. That's my only thing. And also, if I fall asleep, do not elbow me, please.
Oh, you don't want to go to the movies with me then? I'm sorry. I will wake you up and I'll be like, hey, you're missing the mise en scène.
We will never go to the movies together. I made the mistake of going to the movies with Pete, which Pete used to be on the podcast. And I fell asleep during Wonder Woman, I think, because I found it to be
the woman-led movie.
Incredibly,
hate to see it.
I found it to be unbelievably boring. And he would not let me sleep. Like, bro, let me fucking sleep. I'm tired, man.
An ally to women, Pete.
What?
Making you watch it. This is her story. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a dick, but that was a little dickish of me.
No, you know what, though? I loved The Marvels, and that was a great movie. So you can't get me with that bullshit.
Sentence not sounding like a comic book podcast. Okay.
The Amazing Spider-Man 63. Spider-Man's got 7 more deaths in him or something.
He's got that shit on, too. That costume.
Word, he does. You guys are going to rag on me a little bit. I'm sorry I had to do it. Phoenix number 6.
That cover. The Putri covers.
The words of Atomic Hound ring in my ear. Do not drop Phoenix. I can't do it. I can't. It just feels wrong. Powerpuff Girls number 6.
Oh, that cover. Oh, that guy.
Yes, that guy. This guy, right?
Oh no, that's Gangrene Gang. That's the guy that was in the band Gorillas. It's Ace.
So what? This guy?
Yeah. What's I remember him. He was the music
that?
guy, right?
Huh?
Was he like the music guy in one of those episodes?
Yeah, he has a guitar here. Boogie Machine.
Yeah. Okay, that's a deep Powerpuff cut.
And then
Banksy Man calling you a Phoenix simp. Not wrong.
you think that affects me?
No.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's
no.
a fact.
Water's wet.
You guys know that Sophie Rain, right? Who said that she had a guy give her $4 million on that platform? Let me tell you something.
You don't need to air out how much money I gave, Sean. Jeez. God.
Never mind. I won't go there. I love Jean. And then finally, The City Beneath Her Feet.
Oh, you did pick it up. Cool.
Yeah. I said I would. I did. $8.99. This is James Tynan, Elsa Chartier, Jordi Belair, and Aditya Bidikar. That's a crazy team. I had to get it.
So that do we count that as one book or 5 by cost?
Just the one.
Okay, so I'm counting 16 if I got it right. I was too busy riffing.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
Let me do the count while you read Absolute Overthinker super chat.
Yeah, so Absolute Overthinker with confirm this in the chat or not. Is your icon one of the Green Lantern big-headed dudes? Okay, cool. Maybe Ganthet. So he says with $5, hey, for real, just want to shout out episode 400. I love how you guys keep it real and stay positive also. So glad to be part of the community. A lot of people have been going back to that one recently, I feel. People want to know the origins of the pals.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Absolute Overthinker.
Yeah, 16 is correct.
All right. Let's see who got it. I got a 15. James Jones. What the fuck?
No.
Yeah, James Jones, the first one to say 16. Got it again. Jack
God.
Cloutier with 16. So Jack, if you're still around, you got it as well. And then Comic Book History, also with the 16. We got 3 winners this week.
Thanks for playing. If you guys want any of the Marvel codes that I rattled off for any of those books, you can feel free to ask, and I will send them to you if you hit me up on Discord for them. Yeah. Comic Trope says, just got out of Craven, dull as hell. Oof.
Yikes. That's the worst way to describe a movie, is dull.
Dull as hell.
Yeah. Like, I thought Madam Web was not a good movie, but I had a lot of fun with it. Craven looks like something.
It looks dull.
Yeah.
It's bugged out. Like, it just looks dull. Dex Baker with the 5 spot. What up, Dex? Dex, you could definitely come to the movies with us if you want to.
No, we're not going to movies with Dex. We're going to AEW show with Dex, apparently. He says,
I've been lurking and listening while getting ready to go to an AEW show. Put this towards the Craven experience. Whoa. What AEW show? They doing a live event?
Interesting.
Is Rampage live? Or no, today's Thursday.
Rampage is on his last legs. I'm sorry.
Oh, that show's gone 2025.
Yeah, unless Dex is going to a Shockwave show or something.
Oh my goodness. Near said missing the end scene of Craven is unforgivable. I want to know what it is.
Somebody on Twitter made the end credit scene of Craven, and they just did the Deadpool Wolverine end credits, where it's like a love letter to Fox movies, but they just showed clips from behind the scenes of the Some C movies. It's like Jared Leto backstage at Morbius.
Dude, if I thought that you guys would watch it, I would love to do an episode about the Sony universe of Marvel characters.
Like a post-mortem?
Yeah.
Oof, God.
But I just those episodes don't do well. But I love talking about that. That's probably my favorite topic in all of movie topics is the Some C. It's my favorite thing. I have been obsessed with that for a decade. Ever since the fucking leaks, the Sony hacks, I've been obsessed. I know like every detail about the Some C.
You're obsessed with the Sony hacks, and James Jones is obsessed with the Sean hacks because he's got cameras on you with the way he's winning all these things.
Yo, yeah, what is up with you, James Jones?
Man, sus. Congrats.
Let's see. Comic Book History says, is CM Punk at Collision still? CM Punk is at WWE. brother. But you watch wrestling. You know about it. You're initiated. Comic Trope says AEW results at Wrestle Dream got Daniel Warren Johnson so mad he destroyed my town, Tacoma, in the latest Transformers.
Man, comic tropes caught a stray there.
Oh my god, dude!
That's what happens
Is
when you fuck with Bryan Danielson. Apparently,
is that real? Is that real? Because I'm with him. I didn't like Wrestle Dream results either. I hated that matchup. The Moxley Brian Danielson match.
man, you against plastic bags. Apparently,
Yeah, I'm vehemently against the use of plastic bags in wrestling.
you're just environmentally friendly. Paper bags only.
That's right. Absolute Overthinker says, "Would you guys do a Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy breakdown? I would love that. I rewatch it every year. It's so good. Oh my god, dude, I
Yo,
want to so bad
I heard Sean get wet from that.
because I have this obsession with that series as well, and I have a theory that I've had for years that I feel like is the truth of the series, but people don't think about it that deeply or don't see it that way, or maybe it's not true. But I think what it does is it redeems Rises. I am all about Dark Knight Rises. I love that movie. I think it's brilliant, but I just don't think people got all of what Nolan was putting down. Not to sound pretentious, I just think there was a little bit more there that people didn't necessarily catch.
As I say, Sean, you record it, I'll edit it.
It's more a question of will they watch it
That's fair.
at this
But it
point.
sounds like you just need to get out of your system.
I do. I've needed to for
Did
years.
you get a ticket to Interstellar at IMAX? Oh no, I just oops, sorry.
All right. Interstellar is a very special, important movie to me. And I was bummed out when I was unable to get tickets for the real IMAX. You know, the real one
The only
here
one
in,
left? Yeah.
yeah. Not that 42nd Street bullshit, which I go to. That's the theater I go to. But that's not real IMAX. That shit sold out for weeks. Weeks. It's the hottest ticket in town. Not fucking Wicked, not Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Interstellar, a 10-year-old movie, a brilliant 10-year-old movie.
You're super out of touch on Broadway if you're talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
What do you mean? That's not popular?
All right.
I
Well, so
guess
this is
not.
the Broadway pals, which I don't think that'll ever be a thing.
No.
No. I'm too poor. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, me too. Dude, you want to know what I did? Did I ever tell you I went to see Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark?
Oh, I went opening day.
You went opening day?
I went to the previews, buddy. I got spit on by a Green Goblin, and he was hanging, and Spider-Man got stuck.
You were there that day?
I was there. The
What?
U2 soundtrack.
Yes.
He's there just hanging, be like, oh, we'll get it fixed soon, everybody.
Oh
boy.
my god. See, I saw it after they had tweaked it. So
Oh, lucky you. Well, actually, no, I'm happy that I saw the previews. They were
I would rather
sloppy.
have seen
Yeah.
what you saw.
Yeah.
Just because of what a story that is. But what I saw was actually pretty good. Like I don't know. I don't like Broadway shit, but I thought it was solid.
Doesn't the fact that existed feel like it's an alternate reality? Like I was in a movie? Like that feels like a play that would be in a movie and not really on Broadway.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, dude. Comic Trope says, fuck the AMC on 42nd. Their 4D seats display tripped me. What?
Damn.
Wait, the 4D seats display. What is he referring to? Why can't I think of it? You muted yourself.
Is there a display to show what the seats are like at one of the 4DX
Yeah,
theaters?
there must be, and I can't think of it right now. But yeah. Yeah, I like Turn Off the Dark too. Like I thought it was fun. I don't know. The revamped version. Oh man.
Green Goblin flew over me and he said a word that had an S in it and a glob of spit just.
Oof. Good thing it didn't land in your mouth. You might have a lawsuit.
I don't think he's clean.
You think the Green Goblin is clean?
Well, the actor.
Oh man. It's in the lobby. Okay. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Now I know what you're talking about. I was picturing the first floor that actually has theaters on it, and that's not there. Okay, I know what you mean now. I could sit here and do this all day with you guys. I just love shooting the breeze. It's so much fun. But we can't. We have to go. We have to go. It's so sad. But you know what? We will be back on Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern with Al Ewing. Al Ewing is going to come on the show and hang out with us, and he's going to talk about all the DC stuff he has coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Same.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys show up for that. Like the video here. If you haven't yet on your way out, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It helps us out a ton. We had a blast today. I hope you guys did too. If you did, make sure that you support us in all the ways you know how. Patreon, channel memberships, all that stuff is open and available. Helps us out a ton. We will see you on Saturday. Until then, take care, guys.